This is the second video lecture of Python. Earlier we have shown some string operations as well as some numerical operations in Python. Now we'll discuss about how to utilize the variable as well as the sets in a particular data structure in a Python. So Python has the robust and flexibility in using those sets and everything. Like suppose earlier we have shown that if I want to add two numbers, that case directly I can add, and if I want to use a variable, then directly I can declare that variable, that means x equal to 5, and after that if I declare that x plus 7, then it will give me the entire result. Similarly, if I take the value of y also, and if I declare x plus y, and it will give me the value. And if we have the z value, and take x plus y star z, and it will give the entire value. So it's a complete flexibility. You don't have to declare what type of data structure I need for this x, y, and z. That is whether it is an integer, float. If you, instead of this one, if I take the value of suppose p equal to 0.9, that value will also be considered. And if I make the addition or subtraction or whatever it may be, it will give you the complete results. So this type of flexibility is there. So suppose I want the x square plus y square plus z square, that value. So what I have to do, that x dash 2 plus y dash 2 plus z dash 2. So it will give me the x square plus y square plus z square value, entire value. So these types of flexibility already we have in Python. So apart from, what are the operations we can do, like vice for the string also, we can take the value within a string again. Suppose if I take name equal to YouTube, so what it will do, that that the value will be stored in the um, variable as the name. So within this name, what it will do, that it will create a linear data structure, and likewise array that we are creating, and the same way it will store each of the alphabet in each of the bits. Suppose y will be stored in the index value 0, o will be stored in index value 1, u will be stored in index value 2, like this way. Suppose if I write, I want to see what is there stored in name 0, that means the index value 0. Obviously, y will be stored. Similarly, for name 1, name 2, or name 3, name 4, name 5, name 6. That means it's a 7-character value, so 0 to 6, any value it will show. Now in the reverse order also, that may if I want to display this one, I can use -1. If I use -1, means that it will start from the last value. That means name -1 will be E. Similarly, name -2 will be B. Name -4, I give name -4, and that value will be T. Likewise, I can display. Now if I want to display a particular set of alphabets out of this YouTube, that means if I write name suppose from 0 colon 4, that means from 0 1 2 3 4, that means first 5 characters it will display. So first 5 characters it will display, and instead of this one, if I want to display the first 4 characters, so instead of U, you will get UT, you will get U. But unfortunately for the minus, that means the reverse order display set of characters, it is unable to show. That means if I write minus, please display -1 to -2, that one it will not, it cannot display. So that is not possible. So it can just only display -1 indexing position or -2 indexing position, like this. Or suppose if I want to mention that name colon 4 means that whatever be the first position, if I don't mention anything, that means from the first position itself it will display all the values. Or similarly, if I write that name 0 and after colon I am not mentioning the last indexing value, that case it will display the entire thing. Now let us go to some other complex operation. This is all about the values. Now if I want to instead of the string operation, if I want to store all the numerical values within my sets, so that can also be possible. So I am storing the values, suppose within nums I am taking one set, and within this element I am storing the values, suppose set of values, suppose 12, 13, 14, 67, 87, 19. So it will store all the values in robust manner and it will display the values also. Now if I want to display any one of the indexing position values, that means num 0 it must show 12, it will show 12. Similarly nums 4 it will display 0 1 2 3 4, that means 87. Similar the same way, that means for the string we have stored the values, the same way it will display all the values also. Suppose for the indexing one, the first value I have not mentioned, the first index value I have not mentioned, but the last index value I have mentioned, then what it will display, it will display the first 4 value. Similarly nums 0 to the entire value, sorry, so it is going to display the entire values also. And similarly from the last position, if I want to display those values, then it will display the last value first. Or if I want to display, but similarly if I want to display from all the values from position -1 to -9 is not there, suppose -4, so that case it will display only null value, because as we have already seen that for the character it is not showing any value from the reverse order, and for the numbers also it will be unable to show in the reverse order itself also. Now we have seen that within our array we can store the characters, we can store the integer values, we can now we'll see that whether we can store the string values or not. That can also be possible. So nums we have taken the number, now we are taking name, another variable as an array, and we are storing the multiple numbers of values. Let us see. So it will display, so entire value it will display also. Now if you want to store the mixed values, that means values within your values, if you want to store, suppose the numbers string of integers 23 54 as well as Amit, that means it's a combination of numbers as well as the combination of string also, so that case also it will be able to display one. Let me check what errors I have done. Okay, so I forgot to give the equal to. If I give this one, now if I show, then it will display the values. Now if I want to add one float values, so what I can do that values dot append. Now insert the values 3.4. so if I display this one values, it will show that 3.4 is also is appended. So it is not like that only integer or the string values or the character values it will take the float values also. This much of robustness it has. Now if I want to store the values containing the combination of strings and characters and numbers, whereas nums is storing the numbers and name is storing only the string values. Now if I want to store where all the values, all this set of arrays within the same values, that can also be possible. Suppose I am taking one variable that is integrate, and within integrate what I am doing that I am storing nums comma names comma another I have taken values. Now let us see what integrate will show me. Look at this, it is showing the numbers as well as it is showing the strings as well as it is showing the combinations of numbers and variables also. Now let us see what is there in my nums. In nums these values are there. Now I want to append. So command will be nums.append, and if you want to append anything, in that case that value will be appended at the end of my list, end of my list. And if I want to append, that is 34, and if I print nums, then it will show the 34 is appended. Now if I want to insert in between, so that is also possible. Suppose that case what I have to do, that I have to give nums dot insert. I have to mention the position. Suppose I want to insert at second position or the first position, so nums insert. Now I want to insert 23. So at the first position, that means after in between this 214, 23 will be added. So let us see that nums, sorry, at the first position it has been added. Actually it should be 0 1 2 0 1 2 3, so third position. So let us insert it again. Nums dot insert third comma 45, and the third position the value I should insert. Let us check. So in between this 214, this value has been inserted. So we have seen that append, which will insert the value at the end, and insert, so which will insert the values at a particular position. Now if I want to remove, that is also possible. Nums dot remove, and which value you want to remove. So suppose I want to remove 45. So 45 is being removed. Now suppose nums dot remove 14. Let us see what happens. So the two 14s are there, last 14s it has removed. And or instead of remove, we can use the pop also. So what is the difference between the remove and pop? In case of remove, we can mention that which number I have to remove it and it will remove it. And in case of pop, we can mention the index values. That means I want to pop the second values. That case, just write nums dot pop 2, then it will pop the 14th element. And if you type it, then you will find out that 14 is not over there. And but if you don't mention anything, that means nums dot pop only, and what will happen? By default it will pop the last in first out position. That means the last value that has been added. The last value added is 34 right now, so that value will be added. That value will be popped out. That means 34 has been popped out. So similarly, at any positions, position wise, if you want to delete that case, you have to use pop, and the value wise, if you want to delete that case, you have to use remove. Now, if I want to remove multiple numbers of values, so that case, what I have to use, I have to use the delete command. So del dot nums, and if you give the position, that means how many values are there? 0, 1, 2, 6. So from fourth positions, I want to delete all those values. So 4 colon and 4, sorry, I have to use the third bracket over here. So if I type nums again, so what it will do, that from the fourth position itself 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For fourth position itself 0, 1, 2, 3. So fourth position, that means 90 and 34 has been deleted. Similarly, we have seen that extend helps me to enter a value at the last, pop helps me to delete a value from the last, or if I want to append, sorry, if I want to insert a value at a particular position, that insert will help me. If I want to delete a value from a particular position, pop will help me. If I want to delete a particular value, remove will help me. If I want to delete multiple numbers of value, del will help me. And if I want to extend, if I want to insert multiple numbers of values, so from the last positions itself, in that case I can use extend, nums dot extend, and if you give the values, suppose 23, 65, 12, 98, 67, so multiple numbers of values we are inserting, multiple nums dot extend, nums dot, sorry, what you have to do, we give that we have to, whatever the values I want to give, so that we have to put within the third bracket. So if I now show, if I want to display this one, then it will show you that the earlier the values were 12, 23, 67 and 87. Now after that the 23, 65, 12, 98 and 67 has been appended. Now similarly, if I want to use the min max or the other min max average or sum on nums or for a particular values, so that can also be possible. So if I write mean of nums, then it will show me the minimum value. If I want to see the max of nums, sorry, max of nums, it will show me the maximum value. If I want to see the sum of nums, it will show me the sum of these values. If you want to see the shorted values, nums dot short, should be dot nums dot short, it will display, and it will display you the shorted values. So all types of operations you can do in a list, because one property that I forgot to tell you, that list is a mutable one. That means whatever be the insert the list, that case you can change it. That means you can insert a value at the end, you can insert a value at any positions, you can pop the value from the end, or you can pop a value position wise or the value wise, or you can insert multiple numbers of values, you can delete multiple numbers of values, you can short, you can perform minimum, maximum, whatever with the operations aggregate. These are called actually the aggregate functions. So all the aggregate functions you can perform. Now we will see that another property that is called tuple, tup. So in case of tuple, if I write tuple and we have to mention the values, suppose I have mentioned the values 23, 34, 45, 67, and then 89. And if I display it, so it will display. Then what is the difference between the tuple and the nums values? First thing is that in case of nums value we are using third bracket. In case of top we are using first bracket. Within this nomenclature we can identify the difference between the top and the nums. And another important difference between top and nums is that nums is mutable. That means we can change, we can append, we can insert, we can delete, we can make any aggregate functions on top list values. But in case of tuple we cannot make any change. Suppose in top if I write top then third position values, it will show me the third position values. Sorry, I have to mention the third bracket, third position values. Sorry. So it will show you the third position values, right? Similarly, if you use the reverse order indexing, that case also it will show you the exact values. But if you want to replace any values, top, suppose second value I want to replace, top second, sorry, top 2. 2 means 0, 1, 2, that means 45. 45 I want to replace with 90. So it will show you the error. But in case of nums, let me see that what is there in nums. In case of nums, suppose I want to replace the second value, that means 0, 1, 2, that means 23. 23 with 90, that is possible. Nums, second value, right? Second value, I want to replace 90. Sorry, nums. So right now if I type nums, so look at this, the second value has been replaced. So in case of nums, whether as it is immutable, we can make any change, but in case of tuple, we cannot make any change. So another thing is the set. So we have seen that what is tuple and we have seen that what is list, and another thing is that set. So set will be represented by the braces, that means the second bracket. Now if I want to display these values using set, so it will display the entire value. Now if you want to display these values, you'll find out that whatever I have typed in that way, it is not displaying me those values, means the data structure or storing the values format is totally different in case of set. So where to use the tuple, where to use the list values. So as the tuple is immutable, that means the values cannot be changed. So if I need a data structure or any operations where I don't need to change my values, in that case it is better to use tuple. And if I have to make the modifications in the stored values, that case it is better to use the list.